Hi, fifth grade. I hope you're having a great day today. Today, we're going to be talking about the tradition of quilting. You may know what a quilt is already, but just in case, here's what a quilt looks like. You may actually have a quilt in your home right now, or have someone in your family that might make quilts. So, people have been making quilts for thousands and thousands of years now, and a quilt is like a blanket with several layers of cloth. The pieces of cloth are all stitched together to create a design, and the tiny stitches hold the designs into place. So a handmade quilt is different from like a blanket that you might buy at a store. A handmade quilt it has really been stitched all together by the person that has created it, and there's many different styles of quilts as well. So this quilt by Michael Cummings, which is called the Storyteller, it is a quilt, but it is also a work of art at the same time, because what the artist has done is he's created something here that almost seems like it's a painting. So instead of painting with paint, he's painting with fabric to create his picture. So this is what we'd call a pictorial style of quilting. If we look at this quilt by Marion Whiteside Newton, this quilt is actually made with squares of fabric, and you can see all the different ones with images tell the story of Alice in Wonderland. And Marion Whiteside, usually made quilts with storybook themes, and she'd use applique techniques, which means that she would cut the figure out of a design and sew it on top of the quilt square. So what we are going to do today is you are going to make a quilt square that's about you, so that if we were to take all of the quilt squares from your class and sew them together, we would have a quilt all about the fifth grade. So the first thing is we have to think about our theme, right? Or our main idea. Our main idea here is going to be you, and you are going to create an image of yourself doing something that you love. You can see in these student examples that we have a lot of different things going on. We have people playing instruments, we have people dancing, we have people hiking. So you're going to think of something that you really love to do and draw what your quilt square would look like if we had fabric. But we're just planning the quilt square out on paper, so you'll need your sketchbook, your colored pencils, and a pencil. Okay, fifth grade, so the first thing you're going to need to think about is what are you going to be doing in this quilt square plan. For me, I'm going to do a drawing of myself gardening, and we have to think a little bit differently here, because normally we'd be very detailed, but in a quilt square we have to be a little bit more I want to say simplified, because if we were to actually cut all of these things out of fabric, it might be a little bit tougher. I'm going to go ahead and put my gardening hat on here, and I'm working in Sharpie just so you can see a little bit better, but that does make it harder for me to draw without erasing. So I'm going to kind of do almost like we did with the contour figure drawings. So I'm keeping it a little more simplified. I'm going to put my shovel in one hand here, and maybe I'll put flowers in this hand over here. And notice I did kind of like a little frame around the outside edge, because I want to frame around the quilt square. And I'm going to just have myself kind of digging down in the dirt here. I guess my other foot would be able to see right about there. And again, very simplified. I'm keeping everything kind of block-like. I am going to put a horizon line behind me, and then I'll just draw some simplified plants kind of coming out here and there. And think too, guys, about what you would like to have like in and around your border, because maybe you would do different kinds of detail there as well. So for my face, I guess I'm going to keep it just very simple. And I think what I would like to do is have just a few lines here and there to look like stitches. You know, so it looks like it's been sewn together even though it is a drawing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start adding color to this, and then I'll check back in with you. Okay, 5th grade, so here is my finished quilt square. Remember, this week you are drawing an image of yourself doing something you love for a plan for a potential quilt square. You want to keep your shapes fairly simple, your design fairly simple, because if you were to cut this out of fabric and sew it together, you would want simple shapes. Make sure you take a photo of your work and upload it to your Google Classroom. I am looking forward to seeing your plans for your quilt square, and have a great week, 5th grade. See you soon.